Hi, Melinda here from Mindy's Craft Shack. Today we're going to be doing this Valentine's Candy Heart Peekaboo Tumbler. I've done it with alcohol ink and white glitter. Also, I'm going to be doing my videos a little bit differently. That way they're not so long. So if you like the way I'm doing this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Now let's go have some fun. Here we have a prepared 30-ounce curved hog tumbler, my prepared 30 mils of Alumilite epoxy, and then I have Tim Holtz alcohol ink. The colors are crimson, cranberry, watermelon, pink sorbet, and then I've got some white. Now I'm just going to start spreading the epoxy over my tumbler, making sure that I get a good, thick, even coat top to bottom. But remember, you want to make sure it's not dripping off the tumbler. If it is, just take some off. After spreading the epoxy, I like to take my heat gun and heat the epoxy a bit. Now this allows the alcohol ink to start spreading, and that way I don't have to use as much. As you can see, I'm starting to add the alcohol inks. Now there is no special order that I do this in. I just pick a color and start getting it to spread over my cup. My goal is just to keep dripping the colors on until my tumbler is covered. Here you see me adding just a little white. Now the white actually helps the colors blend a little better. Then I'm going to go back with the different colors of red, getting those holes, getting the bottom, making sure it's all covered. When we do this, we're going to go ahead and add that heat to it. Now the heat, you don't want to get too close and make it too hot. If you do, you're going to start dripping that epoxy, and those colors are just going to run together and you're not going to be able to tell them apart. Once we are done with that, we're going to take it off the turner. And this I'm doing so gravity is going to help us with moving those colors up and down in all sorts of directions. This gives it a nice swirl look. Once I notice the epoxy is not moving as quickly, I go ahead and I put it back on the turner. And then I'm going to turn it for 12 hours and then we'll go ahead and sand. This is about 3 hours later and the colors have stopped moving, and this is what we've got. Beautiful design. I just love these cups. It's about 24 hours later and now I'm sanding with 220 grit sandpaper. I'm doing it very lightly because that alcohol ink is pretty much on the surface. So make sure you do it very lightly. And after this, I'll go ahead, wash it up with hot soapy water, and we'll start the decals. Now these decals I'm putting on here are with the removable vinyl. The size of them, you can make them as big or as small as you want. I wanted to make them kind of big because I wanted you to be able to see that alcohol ink swirl. And I also wanted the lettering that I'm going to put on here later. I wanted you to be able to really read that. So I think the size I used was about 2.5 by 2 inches. And I'm just putting them however, wherever on the tumbler, making sure I at least get one on the bottom. Once I have those decals on, I'm going to go ahead, go spray paint it, and let it set for about an hour to dry. Once it's dried, I'm going to take 2.5 mils of epoxy and spread it all over the tumbler. I want a pretty thin layer here. This way we're going to be able to put our glitter on. The glitter I'm using is called Snow Cap, and that is from my glitter company called MCS Glitter Company. You can find it on Etsy, and I'll have the link down below in the description. So we put the glitter all over the cup and covering it all. Next, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put it on the turner here and start taking off those decals. Now you'll see that I'm trying not to touch the where the glitter is. I'm trying to keep it on my turner without it slipping off. So when I'm touching it, I am touching places where the glitter is not. You can see I had a little problem with getting those decals off, but I got them off. Now I'm going to take a makeup brush and just kind of brush off some of that glitter that got onto the alcohol ink. After this, I'm going to let it go ahead and dry for about 6 hours. Then I'm going to spray it with a clear coat. After letting the clear coat dry for about an hour, I went ahead and mixed another 30 mils of epoxy, and we're just putting that over the tumbler now. We'll go ahead, do the same thing where we let it dry and turn for about 12 hours, and then come back and put the lettering on. You want to make sure that you're getting that epoxy on nice and even. The tumbler's fully dry, and now we're going to go ahead and use that 220 grit sandpaper again and start sanding this. Now, because I'm going to put another coat of epoxy on after I get the lettering done, I'm just going around making sure it's totally smooth. The vinyl that I'm using for the lettering is a permanent opal holographic vinyl, and it's just from Cricut. And when I was in Design Space, I went ahead and made sure all the phrases would fit into the cup, just so, or fit into the hearts, just so. Here on the next one, you'll see I'm having a little problem getting this one to stick, but I finally do with a little maneuvering. And then, of course, you got to have your X's and O's, and here we go on the bottom. I had a lot of fun doing this cup. It really brought back a lot of childhood memories. Here we are putting on the third coat, I think it is, of epoxy. I'm using 30 mils. I did have to put on a fourth coat, and I think the fourth coat I only used 20 mils of epoxy. And that made it smooth all over with no rough edges. Here you'll see me taking the blowtorch and popping all those bubbles, and then we're done. Here's a final look at the Valentine Candy Heart Peekaboo Tumbler. Now if you liked what you saw and want to see more videos from Mindy's Craft Shack, click the subscribe button with the bell. You will find the links to the supplies I used in the description below, along with the link to my private Facebook group. Also, I hope you all have a wonderful day crafting. Love ya. Bye.